Okay, so hello everybody. This is Laura Tarbell, and this is Mindfully Full Part 1. This is a presentation that I made for WOW Camp, which was a few weeks ago, January 2017. Um, and it got kind of long, so I'm breaking it up into two parts so that's a little more feasible for you guys to listen to. I know how busy everyone is, and so I break it up into two different parts here. So this webinar, Mindfully Full, is about the mentality of eating. Because I think, we really need to address that because eating is so much more than just the science and the technology of it, or technicalities of it, the macros, excuse me, and the micros and your pre and post workout, it's not just about the physical. It's not just about fueling your body. Eating is tied to so many things. It's tied to our family traditions. It's tied to our emotions, our mentality, how stressed out we are, how tired we are, and so many other things. So hopefully this webinar will help you be a little bit more internally guided and give you some tips and some tools that you can use to be more internally guided and to help you hit your fitness goals. So let's first talk about what being mindfully full is not and what it is. So being mindful about your eating is not about controlling a perfect menu or white knuckling your way through your meals or your family get-togethers and parties. That's no way for you to live. Excuse me, I'm just getting over some sickness here. That's a lot of pressure to feel like we have to be perfect all the time. And nobody needs that. We need to reduce the mental stress that we have regarding what we eat. And white knuckling or suffering your way through times where it's supposed to be fun and enjoyable and relaxing, again, it is no fun. And we don't want to do that long term, really ever, but especially for the long term. So what being mindfully full is about achieving a state of awareness within you that is at peace and released from the guilt around eating, released from resentment and pain around eating, and is completely comfortable with what is going on. So how many of you have ever felt guilty about eating? I mean, I definitely have. I love to eat. I feel guilty usually about overeating, eating something that is quote unquote not on the clean list or not on the okay list. Um, so we need to like release ourselves from that because, again, that's no way to live. And feeling resentful. So resentful is having displeasure toward an act, a person, or a thing regarding food in this situation. So for let's say someone brought in cookies to the teacher's lounge, and you ate them. Maybe that wasn't part of your plan for the day, so now you're upset about it. And you're feeling resentful toward that person for even bringing those cookies in the first place. What were they thinking? And it's not their fault that you ate the cookies. So, we can't place the blame on someone else. We need to look inside ourselves for what is really going on. So the thing about food is, and this is the hardest part about food, is that it's not like a haircut. We have to eat. If we want to grow out our hair, if we don't want to get a haircut, we simply don't go to the salon or we don't go to the barber shop. It's that easy. But with food, we cannot avoid food. So we have to deal with it. We have to deal with the times when we feel out of control and the emotions that go along with that. And the greatest tool that you can have in that time is the catch. So catching yourself. Now the catch is, let's say, for example, you have a really stressful day at work and you get home and you head to the pantry and you reach for that bag of Doritos and you're mindfully or mindlessly, eating them while you're thinking about, the situation that happened at work and what you're going to do about it and, yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden half the bag of Doritos is gone. And you look inside the bag and you're like, oh man, I should really put these back. And that is the catch. It is that moment where you either stop and deal with the situation, or you keep going. And sometimes we think, we're too far in, we're too far down this road. F it, I'm just going to eat the rest. And then maybe, I'm going to eat something else too, because I'm already off my plan for the day. I'm already off my nutrition, so might as well. I'll just go back tomorrow. I'll be extra good tomorrow. But I want to remind you that no matter how far you are in that experience of mindlessly eating, that you can change the outcome. Okay? When you feel like you're losing control, you can always, always turn that around. And because it isn't your highest truth to lose control. It isn't your highest truth to sabotage your fitness goals just because you are stressed out about work. And one of the ways to do this is promoted by Gabby Bernstein, and this is the 90-second method. So a minute and a half of just turning into yourself and looking at what is really going on in the situation, what you really need in that situation. And so what you do right after that catch, right after you look into the bag of chips and think, you know what, I should really stop. What you're going to do is put that food down, and for 90 seconds, you're going to breathe in for 5 counts, hold it for 5 counts, breathe out for 5 counts, and then keep repeating that. Some people say that they want you to breathe in for 30 seconds, hold it for 30 seconds, and then breathe out for 30 seconds. But that is an awful long time to breathe and hold and all of that kind of stuff. So you can build up to that if you want to, but the 5-second count will also work. Because it's very meditative, it's very soothing and calming. And while you are doing that breathing, you're going to ask yourself, what feeling or what work am I avoiding? And then allow yourself to feel that feeling throughout the rest of the 90 seconds. And it can be uncomfortable, and that's okay. It's hard to hold a mirror up to yourself and really look in that mirror and see what's going on. But it's important, because now we're looking for inner comfort instead of turning to something that is outside of our body for comfort. A couple weeks ago, I was prepping for a WOW camp, and I was also prepping for a photo shoot. There was a lot going on in the month of January. And I was trying to post some videos that I had made to promote camp on Facebook. And I put some Flow Rider music on there. And Facebook kept kicking the video off. It wouldn't let me post it. And so I didn't realize why. And so I kept trying to post it over and over again. And finally it said, you know what, you are banned from posting videos on Facebook. And I was like, what? This is a major part of my marketing. I need to post videos on Facebook. As silly as that sounds, I need Facebook. And so I was pissed. So I went to the pantry and I started eating almonds and Lily's chocolate chips. Now, of course, it could be worse. But again, I am on a photo shoot prep, and that was not part of the plan. Eating almonds and chocolate chips didn't help my situation on Facebook, and it was sabotaging my photo shoot prep. So I caught myself, the catch, using my greatest tool, and I thought for a second, you know what, this is not helping me. What am I doing to myself? What is it that I really need to do right now? And I did my breathing, and I thought, you know what, I need to go online, I need to research how to fix this problem. So I let myself feel the anger and the frustration, and looked at what I really needed, and I was able to stop and come back to the computer and calmly search on Google and try to figure out how to undo this ban on my Facebook account. And I didn't beat myself up about that. It's important to give yourself permission to do the best you can, and pat yourself on the back when you do catch yourself and you are able to walk away, because that's important. Don't underestimate that catch, because good things can come out of it when you get in touch with the feelings that you're trying to avoid, and that will help prevent further binging. Alrighty, so excuses become challenges. So this is, reframing our perspectives here. When we say the word excuses, when I hear that, that is a done deal. It's closed. You know, that this is the way it's going to be. You've decided it is an insurmountable task for you to do XYZ. Okay, but when I think of something as a challenge, I mean, you know what? I can overcome that. That is figure outable. You know, I can take responsibility for getting through that challenge. Most of us love challenges. I think that's, you know, we love the fitness challenges. We love, you know, all kinds of different challenges, the squat challenge, the plank challenge. You know, we've got challenges everywhere and people love them. So reframe your thinking from excuses to challenges. I'm going to go through 4 common excuses here that prevent us from hitting our fitness goals. The first one is playing the victim. You know, so-and-so did something to me and it makes me eat. You know, and it could be, you know, my boyfriend, you know, broke up with me and so I'm headed straight to Ben and Jerry's. Or, you know, someone said something to me, commented about my body and now I'm upset about it. And so, you know, I'm going to eat or whatever, or my mother overate. So, you know, I'm probably going to overeat as well, you know, and that's placing us in the role of the victim. And being a victim makes us special. It takes the blame off of ourselves and onto another person, and then it's not our fault. You know, this was done to me. It's not my fault that I overeat. Poor me. You know, with the Facebook situation, you know, it's not Facebook's fault that I couldn't stop eating almonds and chocolate. It's me, it's my fault that I didn't want to feel the frustration of it. And again, it's difficult to feel those hard feelings, but once, you know, I learned to let myself feel that frustration, you know, I was able to put down the almonds and the chocolate and I didn't overeat it. You know, and it, you know, we always want somebody to be, you know, supportive. Oh, it's going to be okay, things like that. That makes us feel special. But again, that's not helping us get any closer to our fitness goals. It's really sabotaging ourselves in regard to hitting our goals. The next one, feeling guilty. So when we overeat, you know, as we mentioned before, you know, we feel guilty about doing that. But guilt, again, is not a great feeling to have. So in order to show that we're okay, that we're fine, you know, a few days later, maybe a few weeks later, you know, we overeat again. And because we're trying to avoid that guilt. Oh, I'm okay. I don't need to look at my, you know, internally and see what's going on. You know, I'm fine. And it can become a pattern. And this doesn't happen to everyone, but, you know, I'm just trying to cover the bases here. So number 3, I love food too much, or I'm a foodie. I hear this all the time, you know, oh, I could never be skinny because I love food too much. Or I could never do a competition because, you know, I'm a foodie. And, you know, I don't know anybody who doesn't love food, myself included. I mean, my husband is often like, what happened to all the leftovers we had? I'm like, oh. He's like, did the kids eat these? I'm like, no, I ate all of that. He's like, what? I think I eat more than him, actually. But what we need to do is find joy in other things besides food. Yes, food is love and joy and happiness and connection and all that kind of great stuff, but so are so many other things. So we need to find joy in other things so that food doesn't have supreme power over us. You know, every celebration is not about having cookies. Every holiday is not about sweets and overindulging. You know, we need to focus on quality time with our family, you know, our kids, our relationships, other things that get our endorphins up, like working out, maybe meditating, having sex, you know, all these good things like that. You know, focus on things outside of food, again, that give us joy. And then lastly, the cheat night or the cheat meal, the cheat day, whatever you want to call it. I've actually been trying to get this vocabulary out of my programming because, you know, we teach our kids that cheating is bad. But then as adults, we look forward to this cheat meal or whatever it might be. And it sends mixed signals not only to our kids, but to ourselves, whether we realize it or not. And the cheat meal is basically a way that we are abusing ourselves because we are strict, so strict during the week. and we get to this cheat meal, and then we definitely overdo it. And we overdo it because we feel like, okay, now we have to go back to that strictness again and that kind of suffering and white knuckling, and it's no fun. So we overdo it with this one meal, and it creates this ping pong effect. And we know that the yo-yoing back and forth doesn't get us any closer to our fitness goals. So we need to cut out the cheat meal. And I'm going to talk about how to do that with something called moderation, eating in moderation, as part of this being mindful in the next segment that I'll broadcast here. And in the end, though, I don't really care what diet method is that you use, as long as it's backed by inner awareness and it's guided by freedom rather than being driven by fear. Living life is not about beating ourselves up for what we eat. It's not about trying to out cardio what we ate the night before. I hate those ate it, negate it articles, because it just drives home that fact that we have to over exercise because we ate something that's not on the perfectly clean list. And that's just not true. You can still reach your goals without killing yourself. And you should be able to eat French fries and enjoy them and not have to feel guilty about ordering those kinds of things. There was a woman at WOW Camp when we went to dinner Saturday night that ordered French fries with her fish. And everybody else were ordering, we're being good. We are ordering vegetables and salads and things like that. And I was like, yeah, go girl, eat those French fries. I mean, goodness, we did 3 hard workouts that day. And she can eat some French fries. And she ate maybe half of them and then left the rest on her plate. And she didn't seem fazed by the fact that they were still sitting on her plate. She didn't have to cover them up with a napkin or pour salt all over them or something, to make it to turn her off from eating them. She was just having a nice, pleasant conversation with the woman next to her and just left those French fries there, not even, paying any attention to them. And, that's what we need to get to. We don't need to feel out of control around food, which I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I don't want you to feel out of control around something and then not buy it. There's one method that says, if you can't stop eating something, just don't buy it. And I get it. I've done that. I just can't have it in my house because I'll eat it. But that's not teaching us anything. That's not making us any better. That is a basic way of handling it. And it's a way to start, and that's fine. But let's take, for example, chips. So if chips are your thing, that's fine. You don't have to buy chips for your house. But then let's say you went to a Super Bowl party, and now there are 5 massive bowls of chips out on the table, and you're like, your eyes get big, and you're like, oh my goodness, look at all those chips. And you haven't had chips for a long time. So you're like, you know what, I'll just have one. And suddenly you feel out of control in the presence of these chips. And the reason you feel out of control is because you haven't practiced saying no to them. You haven't practiced being in control. So I actually encourage you to buy the things that make you feel out of control. That's probably the opposite of what you thought I was going to say. But this is moving up into a more advanced way of handling your cravings and handling those things, that are your weakness, because it makes you practice control. And if you have, 2 to 3 chips, on a daily basis, that's not going to be like a make or breaker for your diet. But if you, all of a sudden out of the blue, go to a party and eat, 3 plates of chips, that is going to be, harmful toward your fitness goals. Another thing too, actually one method of training, just one more thing here, tells people to actually go ahead and eat the thing that they feel out of control around every single night or every single day until they can take it or leave it. So if your thing is ice cream, then every night have a bowl of ice cream. Awesome. And keep doing that until it loses its power over you, until you're like, ice cream, I could take it or leave it. And then most of the time, I think you will start choosing to leave it. And will, in essence, lose its power over you. And it might take a week, it might take a month, it might take longer, who knows? But that's one practice of, of handling your cravings. So I just want to end here today with asking you, what would life be like if I was more internally guided regarding your nutrition? And to remind you that the fleeting moments of sugar highs are minimal compared to the richness of self-love and awareness and the high of conquering your fitness goals. So that's it for part one. Part two will be coming up, and it'll be more on moderation and what that is and how to do it. That'll be coming up probably next week, so please keep your eye out for that. If you guys have any questions, please message me anytime or email me anytime. I really appreciate you guys listening, and hopefully there will be many, many more of these. And so thank you guys very much again, and have a wonderful day.